did next. What else? Confirm, click deploy. Okay, so go to site settings. And then we need to add all of this information in. So I'll do that. Environment variables, import from a .env file. So I'm just going to paste this in. So there's this .env local. Let me grab that. Okay, and we just imported all of these. Nice. Oh, that's nice. Now I need to go set up my Stripe webhook. So let's just paste that in. Add a destination. We need to add this endpoint URL. So proposal generator. I don't know exactly what all this stuff means, but just going to select all. And then I guess it's just proposal generator. Okay. And then no description, I think. That looks good to me. Okay. Everything is now added. So go through and then make sure my site's deployed. I saw some issue with it earlier. All right. So this is now going to take whatever this is. And now that it actually has access to the app, it should be able to update it for me. I don't know for sure, to be honest. We'll figure it out. Hopefully you guys can tell. A lot of this stuff is me just saying, hey, fix it. And if it can't fix it, what the hell do I do? And then it just tells you what to do, and then you're good to go. What's important really is like, if you think about it, like this software engineering stuff, this is like almost completely automated. I mean, I was doing more cooking of my salmon rice bowl than I was actually, steering the ship after a certain point. And that's because we made use of the plan mode so heavily. But what's important really is like your agency as a developer and like your ideas and your willingness and capability to like put together things. In my case, I do a lot of proposals. I send out maybe one every couple of days right now. At our peak, we were sending like 4 or 5 out a day. And so doing all that stuff manually was obviously very time intensive. Well, if I could just one-shot it with like a little voice transcript and then an AI prompt, obviously, and then generate my own landing page like that, that's really valuable for me as a business. That's something that AI would not know of right now and would not really be able to do. So, allow the AI to be your hands. You, similar to the way that like, keys on a keyboard are, you're the person that's coming up with the ideas and thinking. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys are paying attention while all of this is occurring, but did you see this little context tab get filled up? Because this is at 100% more than once at this point. Essentially what occurs is this is your total amount of context available to you as somebody that's doing a build, right? Well, when this reaches a certain limit, when it hits, 99 or 100% or whatever, what it'll do is it'll take all of the text that you've written so far and it'll compress it down as tightly as humanly possible. Now let me commit and push. So netlify rebuilds might literally just turn into netlify rebuilding dot. It'll save all those tokens, but in doing so also increase the information density of your prompt. And then it'll basically compact it. That's what the term is. So that you have more information in the same amount of tokens. So the next prompt that you use is both higher quality, but then also doesn't actually run over the token limit. The unfortunate reality is models right now only have token limits of somewhere between 200,000 to about 1 million. Some of them have 200,000, other ones have 1 million. The model I'm currently using is about 200K right now. And that means that like after 199,999 tokens go in, like there's only room for one more. That's just the way that they're built, right? That's just their infrastructure. So Claude does a lot of these like automated context management techniques without really telling you. And that's core of what we're going to learn after this project is done. Anyway, I went back and forth a couple times, and now you can see that we have the app live. It's live on a public facing URL. So I'm going to go nickywiki@gmail.com and actually sign in with my previous account. And now you can see I actually have access to that same pipeline, that same page that I had previously. So I'm going to give that a click. Everything is nice and centered right now, which is exactly what I wanted. Super clean. What's cool too is it stretched the strategy setup and fee all the way to the right-hand side. And then, I have the ability to do my signatures and whatnot. So suffice to say, like this worked. This app is now functional. It's live. It's, honestly, probably better for my purposes than PandaDoc was, which I was paying out the ass for. Not that I don't think the company's cool, but damn, is that some expensive API pricing, I think, for what it's doing. In my case, I'm doing all that now basically for free, at least Netlify. The deployment solution that I had available was free. So aside from the Claude Code tokens, it's one of those things where you spend it once, and then every time I ever generate a proposal from here on out, it's sort of fixed. Now, I mean, we built like an app here, right? This is a full stack app. That's what this is. That's why there's like the login page, there's stuff on the back end, there's a database, there's, the front end and whatnot as well. But I want you guys to know that like, despite Claude Code and how awesome it is, I'd be very wary about taking apps that are fully vibe coded and then publishing them on the internet. This is sort of my obligatory safety message, because there are people that are out there that are using Claude Code and similar tools to try and find security vulnerabilities as well. And unfortunately, despite how amazing Claude Code is right now, It's not at the point where it like fully 100% patches everything on the front end and the back end. So what this means is, okay, there are a couple little safety precautions that I recommend you have. The first is I'd recommend that whatever, URL that you're putting together or whatnot, it's not like an obvious or basic URL. Like for instance, I wouldn't just go proposal generated on lfi.app-router. I actually get my custom URL, and then I'd make the custom URL something that, realistically is not like trivial. It wouldn't be like google.com, right? Like not leftclick.ai. I would make it short because there are a bunch of services out there that are scanning all DNS ranges and also all URLs, which basically mean that like the shorter and simpler your thing is, the riskier it is, the more other human beings will have access to this. Like there's probably already been, I don't know, like 30 or 40 people that have accessed my service, despite the fact that I just whipped it up. That's just how it works, right? People are always constantly scanning the internet and sending requests. The second is I wouldn't charge money for these, okay, without having a developer go through the authentication, at least the front end, at least once. And I say this for liability reasons. Like, I don't want you guys to like get a bunch of user data, like usernames, passwords, email addresses, payment logs, and stuff like that, and then have that exposed to bad actors on the internet. It just isn't really worth it right now. Like if you guys are looking to sell apps with this approach, just pay some person, a few $100s, have them look over your app. Let's be real, the software is not the mode anyway, so you can just give it to them, screw the NDA, and just like have them tell you how to secure your application. Hell, they can even give Claude Code some tips, or maybe like a prompt that you could use to do it almost automatically. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, despite how compelling it may be to like make these apps public and stuff like that, and then charge people for their usage, I personally wouldn't. I personally only use apps right now internally within my teams or for my clients. I do not roll these things out and then like try and make money from them off the wider internet when like the app store or whatever. I've just seen too many horror stories. We saw Claudebot a couple of weeks ago, at least is the time that's recording, which later turned into Moltbot, which later turned into OpenClaud. It rebranded 5 million times because every frickin' version of it had major security issues, and then people were getting prompt injected and hacked and stuff like that. And I mean, like, there's a fair amount of your reputation that goes with that as somebody in a business context, but also you are playing with fire here. This is like, real human beings, consumer data. So I don't want to make safety too big a part of my thing. It's just Uncle Ben time. With great power comes great responsibility. And hopefully you guys see here, I mean, this took me, 15, 20 minutes realistically end to end. I was obviously making food and whatnot, coming back. I wasn't as efficient as I could have been. But you are certainly wielding great power right now. And if you're going to have other people trust you with their credentials and logins and passwords and everything like that, you need to make sure that, you're not using that power willy-nilly. Next up, I want to chat context management. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, context management is essentially you handling tokens in a prompt as effectively as possible. There are many people out there that overcomplicate the hell out of this, so I'm going to do my best not to. If I open up a new instance of Claude Code over here, and then I type this / and then scroll down, you'll see that I have access to a bunch of really cool functions here. I can compact, context, cost, debug, init. I can do insights. I have the ability to choose between models, thinking, account and usage, fast mode. We're going to talk all about this next, but for now, I want to focus specifically on one / command called /context. Look at what happens when I click this. If I scroll up and then zoom in a little bit, you can see here that at the very top, Claude tells us essentially what is currently using its context window. For those of you guys that don't know, context window in the domain of AI just refers to the total amount or total number of tokens that a specific model can deal with at once. So